And another video. Let's see what happened the last week-ish. Let's not pretend I'm doing this on a regular schedule. So, metal is over. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away there. But there is this thing, a Friday's article on deadmetal.org titled Metalgate. I read it and mostly I agree with what the author had to say, so I'm just gonna pick some parts and comment on those. I had hoped that the busload of squalling drama that was Gamergate would not come to metal, but Metalgate has arrived, courtesy of the same people who intruded onto the gaming industry despite a striking lack of actual contributions. Metal is still dogged by the issues that arise from its deep-seated conservative values. Metal? Conservative? You gotta be kidding me. I don't know. Metalheads usually do their own thing that doesn't align with the rest of the society, and if you don't like it, you can fuck off. That's not very conservative, if you ask me. But thanks to an increase in conversations about racism, politics and feminism, those on the right side of history have gained solid ground. No! Right side of history. Guess who else was on the right side of history? Well, the communists were. See, the right side of history is something Karl Marx brought in, and it stayed. Apparently class struggle and the resulting victory of the proletariat was something like the intended order of the universe, so anyone opposing to it would be naturally crushed when the history would inevitably set in. Unfortunately, it seems like the people in mighty USA didn't quite get the original meaning and just kinda ran with it. You know, for all the fear of communists they always had, they have very little experience with what it actually looks like. Anyway, back to the article. It is easy to see, however, why someone might want to, as writers have in the past, call heavy metal conservative. Metal avoids social issues and other internal questions of a society, and instead looks at the health of a society as a whole, or in other words, how sane it is. We see a world gone insane through a refusal to pay attention to reality. The methods of that are beyond the artistic genre and should be injected into it. But since 2006, at least trying to reform metal has been a pet project of certain groups. Well, yes, this is exactly what SJWs think and do. They inject their agendas and opinions into whatever they want to see reformed, quote unquote, and then they inevitably destroy it. It's like bacteriophage virus injecting a bacteria or a cell with its DNA and then using the cell to replicate it. Actually, thinking about it, that's so oddly close, it's scary. The grim fact is that metal has split into two groups. When the newer group encountered the older group, they were appalled that it did not share their opinions, not just on politics, but how to live. In fact, I bet they didn't care about politics at all. Metal generally has a don't give a fuck about society attitude. This new group is inherently social, and they share opinions which make their friends feel warm and fuzzy about them. This is at odds with the older metal tradition of not caring what society thought, telling the hard truth and being obligated to no one because most people are crazy. It is only when you get involved in a managerial role with society, like a kindergarten teacher, insisting that we all play nice together, that you care at all about making sure that everyone is included. Metal does not. Metal looks at society from the view of history and whether it is healthy or diseased from within. The metalhead view is consistently anti-managerial, since metalheads recognize the deficiencies of people and want to keep most of them at a great distance. It's not that we want to manage them, like political people do, but that we want to be free of them. Yeah, that's true. Metalheads usually are like, fuck people, I don't care for anyone and what they think, except for my friends. Try to take from them and they'll cut your hand off with an axe. For years, people have tried to make metal more sociable. They first tried in the mid-70s when they mixed Black Sabbath with Led Zeppelin and produced hard rock, hoping that they could sell it to more people. Sociable sells. Then they tried in the 1980s with rap rock, funk metal and other abominations. Finally, they hit on new metal, but that turned into an extended conversation about the impact of child molestation. And then, during the early 2000s, they rolled out a metal hardcore fusion that had sociable lyrics like hardcore punk has for many years. Notice that none of this was brought on by metalheads. It was created by people who wanted to be metalheads, but felt they could not be metalheads unless the genre agreed with their existing social, political and lifestyle biases. At this point, the metal community has entirely split between those who like the old school and those who want to be the new school. This is because they are two separate genres. Metal is metal, and the indie metal / metalcore wave is someone else trying to use us for their agenda. Exactly. SJWs, political correctness people and other fucking idiots tried to take from gamers in a direct onslaught and were surprised by the immense force of resistance they encountered. Now I don't know if they are trying to take on metal now, I hope they are not going to, but if they do, they have no idea what awaits them. See, metalheads aren't these demonic trolls some people imagine them as. Most of them are actually very decent and outgoing people, and if you happen to share their taste of music, they are very friendly, no matter the country or age. But try to attack them and you have a horde of very pissed off brothers and sisters who don't take no shit. I mean, this is the group that was for decades accused of being the spawn of Satan, so they are used to the bullshit and very tired of it. Now on to some video games! Ubisoft decided to release an HD remake of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, The Restoration of Erathia. Apparently recognizing the atrocious failure that was the 6th game in the series and trying to re-release the best one. Seriously, the 6th game didn't even have real city screens on the release. Of course people weren't happy about that, so they slapped some art there as a hotfix. Really pathetic if you ask me, and an unbelievable letdown compared to the beautiful, zoomable, scrollable 3D cities in 5. Let's go back to the remake. Now, what some people were pissed about was this promo material. It shows the new HD look of some of the units in comparison to the old ones. Except, that's not true, because the original ones, even though released in '99, didn't look like a cloud of pixels. So I went and installed Heroes 3 on my computer. By the way, it doesn't seem to meet the minimum requirements. If a game is so old it can't even recognize your computer's hardware, that means somebody somewhere has a huge nostalgia towards it. Well, are those sprites really so pixelated, you ask? The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes they are, but Ubisoft lied. See, those are the map sprites, not the combat sprites. I have a handy comparison here. The top sprite is the new map sprite, the middle one is the old combat sprite, and the two lower are the old map sprites, left one from the promo and right one from the game itself. Of course, in the promo they put them on the combat background, and without any indication as to what type they are, that led to confusion and general anger. Ubisoft actually explained what those were later, but, well, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to the HD remake. The sprites do look better, the artists did really well, just compare a screenshot of original Necropolis with the HD Necropolis. Like, I have only one critique, and that the new ones look rather flat. And if the game will run in higher resolutions, I shall be happy. And don't forget 5:4 ratio, please. But hey, Ubisoft, nobody can deny that you were trying to say, look at how horrible graphics the original game had, which is of course marketing, but until you explained, it seemed like a big fat lie. Now it's only a small lie, but still, the majority of people who will buy this are Heroes 3 fans already, and you don't need to lie to them. This just gives a reason for people to dislike you, and you know lots of them already do. So much for Ubisoft. Next we have a fairly controversial piece. So, Hatred got pulled from the Steam greenlight, and it's back up as of making this video for some reason. So why did it get taken down in the first place? Well, apparently it's too offensive. A known idiot, I mean SJW blog Fucknovideogames, even called it a, I quote, genocide simulator developed by neo-Nazis. And then of course went on to describe the developers in the most negative light possible. Like some of them are members of the nationalist Polish Defense League, which is Islamophobic hate group. Funny you should say that. I'm not denying they are nationalist, but one of their efforts is to make sure that young women aren't raped by Muslim immigrants when they go from a club alone at night. And knowing what's going on in Britain, as Sargon showed us, I don't find it that hard to believe they are actually doing a good thing in this particular case. Anyway, what if they are neo-Nazis? I don't care! I don't like neo-Nazis, mind you, but I'm trying to look at the game here, not the people behind it. As long as they don't make the game itself extremist, as long as they don't put their ideas, their ideology into it, I don't care. This is something SJWs can't grasp. They are so grown together with their agendas that they perceive it as impossible that someone would make a game without injecting it with all their bullshit. For them, probably if you are a female developer, your game has to be about feminism, or if you are a gay, it has to be about gay rights and gender equality, or some shit. That's how much their perception is skewed. Let's look at this in a more normal way. I have an article from Cinemablend titled "Why Hatred Was Removed from Steam Greenlight." It's nicely written, tries to stay objective and report on things. You know how articles should be. I really like it. I'm gonna put a link to the description so you can read it, but here I'll just take a few small excerpts from it and add my thoughts on the matter. Valve's short statement about Hatred suggests that they internally decided to take the game's Greenlight campaign off Steam. Based on what we've seen on Greenlight, we would not publish Hatred on Steam. As such, we'll be taking it down. Valve's Doug Lombardi told Eurogamer. Oh, so they looked at the trailer, read the description and removed it. Seems fair. It was removed 2 hours after it showed up, so it seems just like it was their decision. Or was it? Some assume that Valve is bowing to public pressure by removing Hatred from Steam. The game's announcement in October was met with plenty of outrage. It's easy to believe then that some of these offended parties demanded Valve to take down the game and that the company complied. After all, that's how Target Australia's GTA 5 ban happened. Exactly. If Valve saw all the outrage the game was causing, they might have just decided it isn't worth the bad rep. They were probably just like, guys, let's take this down before anybody notices. Furthermore, there was a sizable group of people rallying around the game as well. As developer Destructive Creations notes on their Facebook page, Hatred's Steam Greenlight page received 13,148 upvotes within 2 hours of its debut. Also, for every change.org petition speaking out against the game back in October or November, there was another demanding that production continue. And that's very good, because nowadays everything is politically correct and you have to abide by agendas, otherwise you are accused of supporting toxic masculinity. Or some developers are shitting their pants just thinking about speaking out against the wave of feel-good crazies because they might lose their jobs. Because feel-good crazies want to protect everybody's feelings, except if you don't agree with them. Then you're worthless. A game that defies political correctness is exactly what we need. These days, when a lot of games are heading to be polite, colorful, politically correct and trying to be some kind of high art rather than just an entertainment, we wanted to create something against trends, Destructive Creations said back in October. Well, some people might see it as trolling, some people might see it as just disgusting, and I admit, if you allow yourself to immerse, killing crying defenseless people isn't the most uplifting thing to happen. But here lies the value of games all the agenda-driven people overlook. Okay, Hatred is primarily a correctness-defined massacre shooter, but as I said before, if you allow to immerse yourself, you might actually find out that you feel very uncomfortable with killing helpless people begging for their lives. Because while showing killing and making you do the killing, you and all the SJWs, please follow me closely now, you might employ your own brain, God forbid, and see and observe and educate yourself in how horrid actual mass shootings are. See, this is, at least it seems to me, what feel-good craziest thing, that for a game to have a message, it should hammer you over the head with it from the very moment you started, that every character and a minor side story should adhere to it. This is bad. This is good. And there's no other way. Fuck no! No! That's not how you do it! It leaves no room for interpretation, no hidden meanings, no nuance. Their storytelling is black and white as the result of their agendas and doesn't leave room for the players themselves. An example of storytelling I like to give is Morrowind. Sure, the main story is just, hey, you're the chosen one, go kill the big bad over there. But if you actually read the in-game books and listen to what people have to say, you can arrive to 3 or 4 different conclusions about who you are and why did you do all the things in the story, including few where it didn't actually matter if you were the chosen one. Yeah, but I digress there in a major way. Back to Hatred and Steam. Yeah, so Hatred is back on Steam, and there are thousands of voices for and thousands of voices against. This time it worked. This time Steam got away with it. Or maybe not, since it's back up, I don't know. But I fear that soon Steam will have to accept some degree of responsibility. I don't like Steam much, because it's very close to creating a monopoly, and that's never a good thing. But because it controls the majority of the market, just blocking a game might severely impede its chance on success. And on the other hand, it publishes hundreds of crappy low-quality titles, and the greenlight system itself is laughably exploitable. But Steam doesn't care, because it's making money off all of it. As Veemonro said in one of his videos, we should let Steam know that if they get bad PR from SJWs for not taking down a game, they'll get the same bad PR from gamers for banning that game, and gamers are customers, and nobody likes losing customers. So that's it. Also, Pirate Bay was taken down the last week, but I'm gonna make another video on that in the light of some information surfacing after the Sony leaks. So that's all. If you want to ask anything, if you want to say your opinion, if you want to tell me how big of a faggot I am, just don't be shy and put it in the